Welcome back to a fresh new episode of Knock of the Perch, a Manchester United podcast. The scintillating draw against Lyon, and one man made sure that the headlines were dominated by him, and that man is Andre Onana. How have you been, Naroj? How was the match for you?
It was a good game. I think I was really looking forward to this one. Again, the times are absurd for the part of the world we live in. And, you spend the entire day, you look forward to the game, and we start the game with conceding a goal. Then we see a little bit of a resurgence from the team. And I think that was the part where I got really excited about the team. It looked like uh, the United team was,
Mm.
being composed, being strong in defense, and not giving away a lot of chances. And then on the other hand, on the other side of the pitch, we converted a goal just before halftime, which was a great time to get an equalizer. And then a good Manu interception and pass to Bruno, a beautiful ball in, and Zirkzee gave us the lead. And I thought it's great. I mean, going at Old Trafford with a one goal lead only for Alex Ferguson time. Fergie time, we 95th minute we go on to concede a chance, which is again largely owing to an Onana error. So yeah, obviously there's a lot of anger against Onana at this point in time, and it just brings back the memory of Champions League from last year, where important moments Onana conceded a lot of chances, and yeah, I'm starting to get a little frustrated by him now.
But objectively speaking, we're still, I think, had you told me we'd take a draw with Leon at away in the first game, I would have taken it. Of course, the circumstances not ideal the way we did because we sort of dominated the game. Like Bruno was at his masterclass. All the players were decent. Of course, Hoyland had a bad night, but Zirkzee made sure that we had that lead.
Yeah.
Onana, even before the game, made sure that headlines were going to be dominated by him. He had a very back to back with our former player Nemanja Matic, huh?
Yeah.
And mentioned that we United was significantly stronger than Leon. Of course, Matic took offense and hurt him back, calling him one of the worst goalkeepers in United history. uh, I felt that was a bit on the nose and a bit on the nose and below the belt, to be honored by Matic. You don't expect Matic to come out like Matic is a bit more experienced player. You don't expect him to come out and make statements like that. But Onana again, hit back by sharing a tweet and saying, "At least I won something with the biggest club in the world."
Yeah.
It became a bit petty, but the game was going to be surrounding Onana, and I think he crumbled under pressure there. I mean, two glaring mistakes which led to goals. The first one was a very stupid one. He could have dived, he could have cleared, but just let the ball pass.
Yeah.
And even the second one, I don't know how many times have we talked about this, that he parries the ball inside the box, and same mistake we've seen again. Begs the question, uh, with so much investment in the defense, is Onana now the weakest link in our defense? What do you think about that?
Yeah. So it's a little bit of a difficult one to answer, especially with how this team has been over the last few matches and let's say last couple of seasons, even before that, right? Uh, Come to think about the time since Erik Ten Hag, we have always tried to, in some shape or form, be a transition team, defensively solid, not give away a lot of chances, and then try to attack on the counter. In fact, since Ole's time, right? I think since Ole's time, we have been trying to do that. And where David de Gea was good, that some of his shot stopping for high XG shots was really good. Like I think every second or third high XG shot, there was a probability that David De Gea would do well against it and will probably save it. But I wouldn't say he was one of our best shot stoppers, at least towards overall, yes. But last couple of seasons, I think his last season, he had a fair few mistakes in him as well. So it probably had to do a little bit with the defense in front of you, where you're conceding many chances. And then if you're conceding many chances, your reflexes are slowing down. You will tend to, make an odd mistake. Now, coming to Onana, it began with the entire point that, okay, we might change our style of play. We will become a team which builds from the back, etc. And Erik Ten Hag could never really get that to application. Although there were times when we would try to do that, maybe we will falter, maybe we will uh, progress a little bit, but not really do much. So we had to again revert to defensive solidity kind of a setup where we will try to hold the opposition and try to not concede a lot of chances. Which with this back line, which is not the greatest in United history or whatever. Like if you compare the to Edwin or Kasper Schmeichel, the kind of defenders he had in front of him, they had in front of them was world class, right? You had a Vidic Rio in front, Gary Neville, and Evra, let's say, on the left back. So that makes a lot of difference. Onana hasn't had that kind of defense. So with the new defense coming up and with the new system being set up, maybe defensively Onana is the weakest link. But if I were to say overall, is he the biggest problem in the team right now? I will say no. So that is where I am at right now.
Understand that. I mean, the system does allow of a fair few shots to creep into the goalkeeper, and this was a problem we faced a lot last year. I believe we were facing about 20 plus shots every game, be it a Luton Town, be it a City. We would always be conceding about 20 plus shots every game.
Yeah.
It has relatively gotten better this year. Our XG stats have gotten a bit better, conceding stats have gotten a better. But that being said, we still concede a whole lot of goals. We're still negative in the goal difference, and I will back the goalkeeper till the time he makes those crucial stops. I understand the whole clean sheet uh, cannot be attributed to a goalkeeper. A lot of other factors go into it. How the defense is performing. In fact, how you're defending from the front. I think it starts from there itself.
Yeah.
I understand that we have changed systems in mid of the season, but that being said, there are some metrics I feel Onana could do much better, and he started this season quite well actually. That is why I noticed that he has shown good form across the 2 years, but only in patches. He has a mistake in him. For me, De Gea was better because even though he wasn't great with his feet, he'd more often than not give you a 7 or 8 out of 10 game and save most of the shots on target. Of course, you were right. In the last couple of years, he had a mistake in him, and he was on ridiculous wages as well. So letting him go was much more of a business decision than a football decision. And I don't completely disagree with it. But that being said, I personally don't believe Onana as of now is better than De Gea.
Interesting. Let's look at some of the stats that we had pulled together. And while we do that, I think on the David De Gea now versus Onana now, I'm not really. I don't think it would have made a world of difference to this Manchester United team had David De Gea been in goal at this point in time. And as you said, it was a business decision. It was probably hampering our capacity to, uh, you know, structure the wage bill of the team properly. He was probably, looking at a contract which was on similar wages, etc. So that was obviously there. And the point is that at this point in his career, his stats weren't going to get any better. His reflexes weren't going to get any better. So what I have seen is all great teams make that transition at the right time. It probably came in a little bit early than it should have. Probably David De Gea could have given us a couple of more years at the top. But I'm as much as I respect him as a legend of the club, etc. I think I'm not too averse to the idea of us making that shift because in the long term, the idea was always that we need somebody who can play out from the back. We have seen City and Liverpool have the best success, have the best results, have the best metrics in the league in the last few years And they have had the likes of Ederson and Alisson who can play out from the back very comfortably. So,
Yeah, we
yeah,
see
no,
that in the stats as well.
exactly.
I mean, they do make a fair share of passes during the game. Ederson obviously tops in this range, and Ederson not only makes these passes, Ederson also makes a lot of accurate passes. In the long pass accuracy, he has the highest one, and it also reflects in the fact that sometimes in every 5 or 10 games or so, we will see Ederson provide an assist. He provided an assist just today to Jacko Riley, in fact, 10 minutes back in the game against Crystal Palace. And we don't see that a lot from other goalkeepers. And even though that shouldn't be a benchmark of a good goalkeeper,
Yeah,
the fact that his long pass accuracy is highest at 77%, which is as equal to some of the midfielders that we see.
yeah.
Uh, and Onana stand at a paltry 55%, just the long ball one. I think that reflects a lot in his, ball playing ability.
Exactly, exactly. So I think that also comes down to the fact that he is coming to the team from Inter Milan, where they were, he was coming out of the box a lot more as they were building up. Pep Guardiola famously said, I think in the wake of the Champions League final, that you don't press against Andre Onana. I think, and that is the tactic that they had applied in that game. They didn't press Andre Onana. They let Andre Onana come forward and build out the play from the back. So that was his reputation coming into Manchester United. It's just that this system doesn't allow, because you don't have a lot of ball playing goalkeepers. So, sorry, ball playing defenders in the team. So, which is where he has to either start with a long ball, or he has to do those short passes and then try and find a long ball. But it doesn't really work out a lot. So, I think that also has a little bit to do with the system. And obviously, being a Manchester United player, you make errors, you get under a lot of pressure, and then suddenly all of these stats go out of the window, right? You are just fighting from shot to shot.
Yeah, that's very interesting because let's put a pause on the stats for a bit. Just the fact that you said, him building from the back, just from the eye test, I've noticed one, he takes a lot of time when he has to pass the ball, when he has to arrange the back four. Second, he always, like not always, but a lot of times he puts the defenders again into more pressure
Yeah.
than needed to be. In fact, very recently, I think Dorgu received a yellow card lately against Tottenham. I think it was because Onana like threw the ball at him at a very alarming speed and very far away from him, and there was a oncoming, Tottenham attacker there.
Yeah.
I mean, those senses were why Onana was brought to the club, and we haven't seen the best of him till date, in according to me. This is why we wanted to see if building from the back, the reason why Onana was brought, is he doing well in those? And to be honest, he isn't. His progressive passes are also very mid. His passing accuracy, even though he passes a lot of balls within, his own half, it's still at a paltry 78% when we see Alisson and Ederson have them in the higher 80s.
Yeah. Yeah. No, completely agree. I think it's a mix of system and him not being able to replicate some of his Inter Milan form in this setup, which is a challenge. But what if we were to compare Onana with previous United goalkeepers? How does he rank up? And I think we have to caveat this with the fact that overall the United team hasn't been doing that well. Uh, I think it started in David de Gea's tenure when we started regressing as a team, and in the last 2 years in the Premier League, we've been like 8th and 13th. So I think that is a big caveat when it comes to it. Obviously, we don't expect Onana's stats to match up to the likes of Schmeichel, Van der Sar, or even David De Gea for that matter. But just comparing to get a sense as to where we are, and this is where Nemanja Matic was also, I think, taking a dig at Onana on being the worst goalkeeper. So, what are your initial thoughts when you see some of these stats and how they rank up?
I mean, you're right with your caveat that the clean sheet has not the sole responsibility of the goalkeeper. It is the responsibility of the defense as a whole. But if we see the sheet, we can see the saves per 90. I think that is a factor of how much saves a keeper is making per 90. Of course, there's again that caveat that because of the bad defense, we are conceding way more shots than we were during, say, a Schmeichel time or Romero time. But I think even during the years, United were never a team who'd concede very few shots. I think we always let teams into the games, and
Yeah.
but we had the players who could change in the attacking in the forward line who could change the game in a bit. We have lagged that a bit in the recent years. That being said, it doesn't make a good viewing understanding that he's only kept a clean sheet in 24% of the matches. And you only have to compare it with De Gea, because the last 10 years as a whole have been bad, but he still kept like a clean sheet every third game or so.
Yeah. Yeah. No, agree. And I think the very fact that saves per 90 and goals conceded per 90 both have increased, that go on to show, as a defensive unit we have been a problem. But in just in terms of how much of the shots that are coming onto the players, onto the goalkeepers, and they're able to save them, I think if we just look at the David Diaz number at 72% save percentage and Onana at 70%, I think that goes on to show, one, David Diaz has done it for over years. He has done it for like 11, 12 seasons. And to maintain it at 72% is a
Mm.
great job. Compare it with Onana, who added close to 75% in the first season. So 23-24 season, he actually had it at 75% and he had the best save percentage across. So even though we were conceding a lot of chances, he still had the best save percentage last year. But this year, it has dramatically dropped to close to 65%, which is where you will see the average coming somewhere close to 70%. And this year we have definitely seen a big regression in Onana's capabilities to save those shots. This combined with the fact that he makes a lot of high profile errors, I think is
Mm.
where we really struggle. Be it the Champions League last year, where I can distinctly remember 3 or 4 goals leading to us dropping points in 3 or 4 games. Uh, Being a big factor in why we exited the Champions League. And this year as well, he started very well. He had a string of good games. But then I think there was a game against Ipswich, there was another game in the Premier League, and now against Lyon. After all the big talk, this has emerged to be a bit of a sad situation.
Yeah, objectively, he's been better in Premier League than in Europe for us at least.
Yeah.
And I think the fact that he had the highest number of saves and highest save percentage the last year is testament to the fact he was, if not the best, one of the best keepers in Premier League last year.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, which is where you will see that most of the Premier League, if you look at the season stats, they will start. If somebody is doing really well in the season, they will have stats around 75% save percentage, etc. And
Mm.
they will tend to sort of hit a mean at somewhere around 72, 73, 74, where you see the top three teams in the league, which have been Alisson, Ederson, Raya, representing Liverpool, City, and Arsenal, have those stats around 74 to 73%. Now, Onana had it 75% last year, but this year at 65%. So I think that consistency is also a big challenge. So if we were to continue to display some level of consistency, have it above 70%, that would have been great for this team. But that is the challenge, and I think just as a entire team, we have had this challenge, and now we are seeing this being replicated for the goalkeeper as well, which also sort of results in the errors leading to shots. What do you make of that?
I mean, there is no face saving here when we find out that Onana is leading the errors leading to goal. I mean, I feel a goalkeeper is any good goalkeeper or any goalkeeper in the world is remembered by the mistakes they make. It's a very boring job. You have a brilliant day at office, you make so many saves, you win the game, you keep clean sheets, and nobody bats an eye. But when you miss a goal, a crucial goal, it can lead you to go out of competitions, lose out on transfer kitty, like, and big things happen when you miss out on a goal. And it is very clear that Onana leading the errors leading to goal at 8 of them, that is like just isn't good reading. I mean, you look at good keepers like Ederson and Alisson, they have like 3 errors leading to goal, 2 errors leading to goal. And this is about the same time when, since Onana has joined United, for almost 2 seasons of data, this is an
Yeah,
8 errors leading to goals is huge for 2 seasons. I don't think any top goalkeeper would like to read that stat.
absolutely, absolutely. And what about the proactive play? I think you put in a little bit of a reading around this. How do we make sense of this?
I mean, again, Allison and Ederson are brilliant at this. They do sense out danger even before it arrives at them, and that is why their sweeper actions per 90 minutes remain the highest. David Raya obviously is again very good at them. This also, Onana, I really felt, in the initial few games he played for United, that he will play very outside of the box. But very fast, we found out very fast how teams were taking advantage of that. I think in his first game itself, like, he was chopped from long back, and I don't remember if it was a friendly or what, but he was chopped in the like chipped in first game itself, and
Yeah,
after that, we have seen a very careful Onana. So his sweeper actions have also not as up to the top goalkeepers of the Premier League. His cross claiming success is still decent though, but I'll again only remember Onana for all the mistakes he makes when he parries the ball back into the goal. I think that is one attribute. If the main attribute I could improve, it would not be his shot saving, would not be his cross claiming. It would be his parrying power to outside of the box rather than
yeah,
inside of the box. I think
yeah.
that is one key aspect I'd like to change about Onana.
Yeah, I don't know if the stat nerds have this stat where if somebody were to calculate how many shots you give away after a goalkeeper makes a save. If that was a stat, I'm sure Onana would be really really bad at it. And in recent memory, if we were to compare it with David de Gea, he would always ensure that it either goes for a corner or it goes far to the far side where it can be a uh, uh, throw in, or it reaches one of the United players. He had that game understanding. Onana has very soft hands and it just reaches the Leon player, the other opposition players. Yeah,
He, even when he didn't parry that, he'd make a come out and make a brilliant double save
Rub
with
say yeah, correct.
all the parts of his body. Like, we've seen save from his shoulder, we've seen him save via his legs. Like, what a good spider sense De Gea had.
Absolutely, absolutely. Now that leads us to the question that, having discussed all of this, having understood what are the challenges with Onana, where we are with the current setup, and we have Binder as his understudy and Tom Heaton as this mentor goalkeeper that we have in the team who doesn't really play. What do you make of the current goalkeeping department? Is it a priority for the next season? In the short term, do we give Binder more chances? How do we look at it?
I mean, there's a lot of noise exactly right now. I mean, Amorim was asked if he is planning to start Binder, and he mentioned that he'll start the best 11, whatever that means. So,
Which was also which was also a diplomatic answer in my view.
Yes, yes, he always protects his players. He even said that he's made more mistakes than Onana has in his career. So he was protecting Onana a bit there. But that being said, I think United will have higher priorities this summer.
Yeah,
Striker being one, midfielders being one, because of the fact a lot of midfielders are leaving, and we just don't have the goals in us. And
yeah,
to be honest, I think Onana hasn't done that badly. Of course, he has an error in him. He will improve. That's the hope which I keep, because only because we don't have the budget to replace him right now.
yeah.
Uh, so in the near future, I really hope Binder gives him some competition, so that United can concentrate on the other areas of the pitch than the goalkeeping department.
Yeah, I agree. I agree. If I had to objectively look at it, I would say if we have signed a striker, if we have signed at least one number 10, another midfielder, another wing back, and then we still have the budgets after all of this, okay, sure, maybe get another goalkeeper who can either give competition to Onana or replace him, whichever way. Then probably you can have that consideration, but I doubt, given the current position we are in, we will have that kind of budget. So yeah, in short, we will have at least 1 year of Onana more to deal with, and hopefully he can come out better.
Till then, can we please have Onana talk the big talk and just keep it calm, keep it
I would
with
say he should
goals,
just
keep
shut.
it.
He should just shut it and just do the talking in the game. I mean, why do you unnecessarily before a big game rile up the opposition? That's just the worst thing to do, in my opinion. So yeah, I mean, just shut it and show it on the pitch.
I really hope he does it, does the business in Lyon in the home leg, and really hope that he does start against Newcastle and shows some heroics because we will need it against Newcastle, who are under flying form right now with Eddie Howe.
Absolutely, absolutely. I don't have high hopes from that Newcastle game, to be very honest. Don't care too much about the Premier League. The Lyon game up next will be a critical one. So hopefully we can come out on top and Onana can deliver on the promises that he has made. And we'll be back in the next episode and discuss some of these results. Thanks for joining in. And as always, this is our perch. Let's knock him off. Until next time, stay united.